Hey world, welcome to Keats Universe. So there was an article posted over on Patheos last week by Hamet Metha, aka the Friendly Atheist, about this far-right Christian pastor Mark Taylor. Now I will admit I don't know very much about Mark Taylor or why his particular opinion has been brought to the limelight. There's not a whole lot of information about this guy. The article posted over on Patheos shows a video clip uploaded by Right Wing Watch, so I'm guessing he's got a podcast of some sort. I was, however, able to come across his Twitter profile where he describes himself as a retired firefighter, a Christian, and an author. Has written a book called The Trump Prophecies. So I think even from just that, we get a pretty good sense of what sort of person Taylor is. Of course, according to Metha, he is not only a right-wing Christian activist, he is also a conspiracy theorist. Oh my, I bet he is such a hardcore Alex Jones fanboy. I wouldn't be too surprised if they're best buds. Anyway, the title of this video is not as clickbaity as you might think. Taylor's view, in a nutshell, is that you can't really be a Democrat and a Christian both at the same time. So let's listen to the first thing Taylor has to say.
Why do you think Trump calls these guys names all the time? Because you're not dealing with humans most of the time. You're dealing with entities. You're dealing with beings. Some of them aren't human, but you're dealing with beings. Right. You inhabit a body.
Wow, that is just classic dehumanizing right there. I mean, it really is no wonder why Trump and the Trump Brigade are basically compared to Nazis, because that right there is typical Nazi mentality. That is a Nazi tactic. So rather than being actually accountable for treating other human beings like garbage, oh no. Let's just reclassify them as not human beings at all, because that's so convenient. Seriously, this is just vile. It is absolute scummy mentality. It's disgusting. Anyways, let's get to his main point.
Every Christian, every pastor out there that voted for Joe Biden last night, you have brought a curse upon yourself and your family, your children and your children's children down to the third and fourth generation, and you need to repent. I don't care if you are pro-life. You cannot call yourself a Christian and call yourself a Republican or vote for Biden. You know what I mean? Or call yourself a Democrat, I mean.
Yeah. So basically just demanding that all Christians vote just like him. It's the whole classic my way or the highway mentality. What is interesting to me, well, okay, maybe interesting is not the right word. Telling. Let's call it telling. What is telling about these right-wing Christian extremists is that they seem to they absolutely love preaching about freedom of speech. And okay, Taylor doesn't specifically do it here, but I guarantee you there is a 90% chance that if you even hint about requesting that he think about the consequences of what he is saying has on the effects of others, I guarantee you will hear a never-ending rant about how freedom of speech is being attacked and being censored and so on and so forth. You see, the problem here is that the right to vote and the right to choose who you want to vote for is a crucial part of freedom of speech. There are so many of these right-wing conservatives who could practically sing you a song about freedom of speech, but when it comes down to it, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, they have no problem trampling on the right of freedom of speech of others. Once it doesn't affect their freedom of speech, doesn't matter. The other element here is that religion should never be injected into politics. It just doesn't work. A lot of rightists just cannot wrap their heads around the very fact that the United States of America and so many other westernized nations are secular nations. They have separation of state and church. So in regards to the Christians who did vote for Joe Biden, they're obviously more moderate, or at least not quite as far right as Taylor is. The fact that they were able to put their differences aside and vote for Joe Biden anyway, I think that actually says quite a lot about them. And yes, it is true, a lot of these Christians that Taylor is talking about anyway are pro-life, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because in my opinion it should always be the woman's right to choose. But that's besides the point. The point is they were able to put their differences aside and simply just vote for the better candidate. Because Joe Biden simply was the better candidate. So sorry, Mark Taylor, but you don't get to denounce a person's faith just because they didn't vote like you. And you don't get to tell a person of your faith that they have to vote like you, because they don't. All you are doing is you are attempting to manipulate and obstruct a person's right and freedom to vote for who they want to vote for. And the funny thing is, Joe Biden is a Catholic. Last time I checked, Catholicism is a Christian religion. And you can take it from me, I'm an ex-Catholic. But unlike you, Taylor, he doesn't bring his religion into politics. Sure, there's a few God Bless Americas thrown in there from time to time. I strongly believe that Joe Biden will actually respect separation of state and church. I think he will leave his religion, for the most part, as a private matter. And I know there's gonna be some people who are gonna pick up on Biden's keep the faith, spread the faith message. That can be largely interpreted as a faith in humanity and a faith in positivity, which is not something that Trump bestowed. And Mr. Taylor certainly doesn't bestow this, nor a lot of Trump supporters. So I call bullshit on this one. You can totally be a Christian and a Biden supporter, or Democrat, both at the same time. Of course you can. Don't be ridiculous. As always, everyone, comments, likes, shares, video responses, and all that good stuff. And until next time, everyone, freedom, peace, and love.